Hey everybody, this is Fist25 and welcome back to the channel. This video, gonna do another Noobs guide. This is going to be, I'm gonna call it the Basics series, and this one is gonna be as short as I can make it, but it's gonna start out with basically how to get around when you first wake up and you don't quite know what to do in the game or quite where to go. Instead of starting out at Microtech or ArcCorp, we're actually going to start out at Lorville, and I'm going to explain to you what keys to use and kind of the general area of Lorville and basically how to get out to your first ship. I think this will be especially helpful for those of you who are in the free fly event, and I know I could have used this when I first started out. So first things first, we're here. You've installed Star Citizen on an SSD, I'm sure, right? Because we all know that we can't play Star Citizen on a regular hard drive. It just loads too slow. So you're at this main screen here, and it's a very nice, and it's one of the space stations out there. It has this area down at the bottom is the mining area, and then this is the main hub of the space station. So if you don't have any friends in the game, that's perfectly okay. You can play this game solo for quite a bit, but it is a massive multiplayer online game, and that's what it's designed for. So if you do have a friend and they are currently online, you're going to want to click this little guy over by online and open it up. And you can see there's a bunch of people. There's, 6 of my friends are actually on. If they are online in the game, it should say they are in PU, which PU stands for the Persistent Universe, which is the game world that we're in right now. I do see a couple that say away, which means they're probably away from their keyboard and the program's still running. And like we look at Wicketer Space here, he's in menus right now. So he is where I am right now. I'm in menus. We see Denavago, TJ Ruckus, and CobraTV. Shout out Cobra. They're all in PU. If we wanted to form some kind of a party, we would just basically right-click on their name and we would invite them to a party. I don't know what TJ's doing right now, so I'm not going to invite him to a party. Consequently, if you just want to get into someone else's server, you can right-click on them and hit join server, although I can't join these guys because their servers are full. Oh, you see where it says join friend, so I could probably join TJ. There's a bunch of different servers, even Cobra has one. Some space in there too, or you could remove them from your friends list. If they are not online, they will show up obviously in the offline category. So you see I have a bunch in here, and that's where those guys are. So we're going to go in solo today. If you do have any notifications like friend requests or other things like how you logged in and logged off, they're going to be over here in the notifications bar. Over here on the left side of the screen under module selection, you're going to see 3 things. The Persistent Universe, which is the actual game itself. Then you're going to see Star Marine, which is basically an FPS type shooter. It's not working real great right now, and it's made for multiplayer, and it's how they developed the first person shooter aspect of this game. It's kind of a mini game and inside the game as well as a separate entity. And then there's Arena Commander, which is the dogfighting simulator. And there's some really cool modes in Arena Commander, but it's also how they develop the dogfighting and stuff like that. So you can do racing in there, you can do multiplayer dogfights or solo dogfights against a computer. There's a bunch of stuff you can do. We're actually going to go into Persistent Universe. As we click on that, we can see the screen change, and now we have the planet Crusader here with Port Olisar in the background. And we can see our location selection is we have Stanton System up at the top. If we click that, we could choose to go to our hangars, and there's a bunch of different types of hangars. There's Aero View, which is like super fancy. There's Reveling York, VFG Industrial, and the Southline hangars, which is like a storage unit. These hangars are designed for basically to bring up your ship and interact with some objects in there. As far as I know right now in 3.12, they do not work. You can't actually call into your ships or anything, but this used to be how people would go in and see how the models were and things like that. So we're going to click on Stanton System. Unfortunately, this is not my first time playing, so I don't have to choose a location. But if you were to just choose your server location, you could use best or wherever whatever area you're next to, Europe, Australia, or USA. I just choose USA. And you're going to click on visit. If this is your first time in the game, it's going to take you to the character customizer before you go into the game. I'm going to go ahead and click on character customization, and you can see you're going to start with gender, and then move on to your first head, your whole head, and it's already kind of messed up my whole head here. So let's go ahead and start with what I normally do. They recycle the characters constantly, so don't get too attached to like really fine-tuning your character here, because every major patch you're going to have to redo it anyway. So I'll cycle through some different heads here. There's some new ones that came out recently. I typically like this guy. And then for whole head, I'm a token white guy, so I'm going to apply the white dude skin. They remove the hair from the other guys here. So I just tend to, I like this old dude for some reason. I just tend to kind of apply a little bit of this to the slider and grab one of my other guys that's faces that I like and apply some of them to it as well. And then I don't mess with brow, or I do mess with eyes. I'll change the color. I have blue eyes in real life. So I typically either choose the real deep blue or the real light blue. Sometimes the way you can fix this game is to change the color of your eyes, and it refreshes the database and stuff. I don't mess with ears, cheeks, nose, mouth, jaw, or crown, but I do make sure the hair is the hair that I like. So when you kind of get your person's look, you're going to spend most of your time in a spacesuit, so it's not that important. But you can cycle through your different hairstyles here. Pick whichever one you like. It doesn't really matter. I kind of like the faux hawk look. You can change it to different colors. I kind of like the darker brown, almost black type of look. And then you hit review. And then, so this is your guy. So then click accept. I'm going to save this character. It's going to bring me back to the logon screen. Now, real quick, I want to go over options back at the main screen. Really quick, under game settings, you have all these different settings, and I'd love to do a video on this one day, but there's just so much to it. I will say that one of the first things you should do, go all the way down to the very bottom under game settings. When you get to the look ahead stuff here, where it says driver look ahead enabled, turn that to no. Turret look ahead enabled, turn that to no. Pilot look ahead enabled, make sure that's on no. And the auto zoom unlock target, make sure that is also a no. Because what that does is when you say you have a target and they fly by the side of you or something, you're kind of going to want to look at them. And no one that I have met actually likes that. So pretty much everybody I know turns that off, and I think that's a big deal. Under graphics, depends on what your system can run. Right now I'm in 2K 1440p. I run in borderless window mode, which is full screen, but it's still a window. So I can swap in and out of it. I do not use the full screen setting. I have a pretty beefy computer, so I run on very high. I keep motion blur off. I turn VSync off because I don't experience a lot of screen tearing. I do like the film grain, so I keep it on. My sharpening and chromatic aberration are all the way down, and my gamma brightness and contrast are all the way in the middle. Now, I use a post-production type of filter called Reshade. I may do another video on that one day. It's what changes my screen to be a little bit darker, and a little bit the colors to pop out a little bit more. Star Citizen by default is a little too much gamma, so it's a little too bright everywhere, and it takes away from my immersion. I also play on a 32-inch 4K monitor that's really nice, but and I've played this game in 4K and 2K and 1080p, and it looks great on any screen. As far as audio goes, I really don't mess with this much. Because I'm recording a video, I keep the music at 0. If I were to turn it up, you hear that? I keep it at 0 because I like to have my own soundtracks and stuff at the end when I make the videos. I keep everything else at 100. Even though speech is at 100, it's always way too quiet. I can hardly ever hear what people are saying in the game. So hopefully CIG will address that one day. Don't worry about race mode because there is no commentary right now. I do keep this on headphones. On my music on, even though I don't have music. Play audio with background. I keep that as yes, because sometimes I'm off on a different screen, and if it logs me off or something, I'll know because the sound will change. For controls, this is a whole different ballgame. I don't really want to get into controls or key bindings. That's a completely different video. So I don't mess with any of the inversion settings or the mouse sensitivity curves. I don't mess with this at all. This is all default. As for key bindings, you can see it has a keyboard out here. I have specific keyboard because I use dual sticks, so I have a certain layout that I like to do. I save that and I take it from patch to patch. So right now that stays the same. As far as comms, VoIP, and head tracking, I use my normal mic in the game. I do not keep it muted. I keep everything at 100%. Don't use voice level. This makes you talk in the game, and like say you're using Discord, you'll talk the whole time. Faceware, I do have a webcam and it does move your face and stuff, but I have a beard, and so their software is not really good enough to figure out the difference between my beard and my face, so I don't use VoIP very often. I do have a Tobii eye tracker, but I'm not going to use it for this tutorial because I need to adjust these curves here for Tobii. And anyway, so that's about it for the options. Let's actually get into the game. Persistent Universe, USA, and let's visit the location, and I'll see you in Lorville. Okay, so here we are waking up at Lorville. This is your hab. All the habs are identical, so don't get anything confused with it. You are laying down in the bed, and as you can see, I have my noob suit on. So sometimes in different packages, there's different ways to get up. In older packages, you had to hit spacebar, which doesn't work. Other times, you've had to hit Y one time. That works this patch. So sometimes it's different, but Y in 3.12.1 will get you out of your bed. As we kind of look around our hab here, you can see that it's a decent little bed there. One of the bumper stickers says, "My other ship's a Bengal," and in the Murray Cup. The Murray Cup's a famous racing event, and the Bengal is a carrier, which we won't be able to have in Star Citizen, but it'll be in Squadron 42. As you saw, I did things. You see that crosshair on my screen. That happens with probably the most important button in Star Citizen, the button that you're going to use the most, which is the F button. F for Foxtrot. F is your interaction key. When we hold down F, you see the crosshair comes up, and it lets me do things. If I look at my bed, nothing happens. If I hold F, and it's something that gets highlighted, it means there's something I can interact with. As I get closer, I hold down F. There we go, and it turns into a circle, and I can either sit on my bed or lie down on my bed. I'm not going to do either at this point. Our habs are not super flushed out right now. I can sit down. There's a couple things you can interact with, but for the most part, it's now hit space. I can't get up. I hit Y, I get up in this patch. There's not much you can do. You can open up this door. I guess you can pretend to take a shower or pretend to use the bathroom, but nothing really works yet, and it's sad, but that's just how it is. There's a lot of details here, and also the mirrors don't work. There's a lot of details here that when they decide to flesh this stuff out, it's going to be fantastic. You can sit in pretty much anything that's a chair. I can open up this cupboard here, this mini fridge, but there's nothing in there. Which means I can also close it. Maybe one day when we have our persistent inventory, there'll be something in there. You have a microwave, you have a coffee pot, which you can interact with. Let's go ahead and make a coffee. So it's a matter of holding down F, going over to the coffee pot, and left clicking. Now that you can see it's filling up, I have a carry, inspect, and drink on my coffee cup. And we're going to go ahead and let it finish. And there we go. A cup of coffee. Let's go ahead. We're not going to inspect it. We're going to carry it. As we carry it, we can move our mouse and look down, and we can see that there's coffee there. I can hold F and highlight over it. We can drop it, inspect it, place it, or drink it. So let's go ahead and, the reason I can't drink it is because I have my helmet on. Let's do what's called inner thought real quick, and let's take our helmet off. I'm going to hold down the F button, and I'm going to right-click my mouse. That brings up, and I'm going to let go of F. This brings up a whole interactable menu here where you can have actions and certain things show up on here. Sometimes your helmet unequipped shows up on here. Usually for me, it's over in this emote column. But if you can go to actions, you can go to player, you can do different stuff like emotes and go prone, wipe your helmet visor. You have item actions like turning on your flashlight, just like that. You can turn off your flashlight. You can also you can reload your gun. If you have a gun, we can unequip our helmet. So we don't know that our helmet's unequipped, but it is right now. And to prove that, I'm going to hit a button that's going to take us from first person, which we are now, and which you'll play the game 90% of in, to third person. And that is the F4 key. F4 key will take you just behind your person. If you hit F4 again, it'll take you further behind your person. Now you can see that the camera will move, but your person will move as well with your camera. To change this view and to allow yourself to see your face, you can hold down the Z key, Z or Z, and as you hold it down, you can twirl your mouse around and you can see your person. See, it looks just like the guy we made on our character creator. Holding a cup of coffee, wearing a noob suit, the whole nine yards there. If I let go of Z, you can see I'm moving my character's head with the mouse, up, down, left, right, and the camera still turns, but now the camera is facing a different direction. I can hold Z and move the camera back, do all that stuff. If I wanted to just reset the camera, I would hold down the F4 key and hit the asterisk or the star key on my number pad. And that will reset my view. To go back into first person, you use the F4 one more time. And now we're back in first person. Let's go ahead and look at our copy. We're going to highlight it with our interaction key, and now we can drink it. So if I just click drink, it'll just take a sip. But if I hold down the left mouse button, I'll drink the whole cup of coffee. Just like that. Now the cup is empty. So, Jawa, likes to put stuff where it belongs. So let's go ahead and do that. I could just drop it on the floor, but don't want to litter our hab up here. If we inspect it, it'll bring it up into our view. We can take a look at different things about the cup. It still sounds like there's liquid in there, even though there's not. We're going to place it. And I'm letting go of F now, and then you can see I can put the coffee cup almost anywhere I want to. Let's put it right there. And it stayed there, so that's nice. So now we're going to need to re-equip our helmet. Well, we don't need to. We'll do that before we get on our ship. Notice our coffee cup disappeared. We don't really have persistence quite yet. If we look at here, we have some blankets, maybe a bar of soap, or these towels. I don't know. First aid kit you can't do anything with. You can see there's somebody's jacket, some backpack in here. It's not mine. Some weights, fire extinguisher. Yeah. So let's go ahead. There's nothing else for us to do in our hab, so let's leave the hab. We're going to hold down F, hover over the door icon, and left click to open. Our door opens, and we are in the lovely city of Lorville on the planet Hurston, where most people, I would say, start out. It's also the default starting location for Star Citizen. As we look around, we can see there's a lot of different stuff going on here. That is a picture of the MISC Freelancer, one of the starter ships that the free fly people get in 3.12. What I'm doing is I'm asking F and just zooming in with my mouse wheel. Brisker Semiconductor apparently is a company. And then this guy, so it says, let's keep working, and they crossed out the let's, added some devil horns to say, keep working. Re-elect Kilos Costigan, I'm not going to say that word that's on the screen, for Imperator. And so this guy was the former Imperator of the UEE, which is the United Empire of Earth, which is where the government is now, 900 years after the 2020s, right? So this guy was the former Imperator, and now we just voted last year on a new Imperator that gets a 10-year, I don't want to say reign, term of service, and the new Imperator, I believe her name is Layla Addison, and she is like all about science and stuff, and she is a independent. She doesn't belong to any one of the political parties of the game. So it's going to be interesting to see how she does things. So as we kind of move around, we'll see that everything is very, very detailed. And we're on the top level of our little hab situation here. And this is the elevator to get us out of here. But let's take a quick little tour of the area here. Now, if you're not familiar with first-person shooter games, the way you move around in this game while you're in first person walking around, use WASD. That is the typical thing for all computer PC type games. So if you hit the W key, you will move forward. If you hit the S key, you will move backwards. If you hit the A key, you will strafe to your left. You'll sidestep left. If you hit the D key, you will sidestep right. If you want to see what that looks like in third person, forward, backwards, to the left, and to the right. Now, you saw I was moving pretty fast, and that's because I have basically my run walk speed is always set to the highest because I don't want to spend time on this planet. So the way you can change that is with your mouse scroll wheel. If I scroll all the way down and start going forward, you see that I'm at a walking speed. As I start to scroll it up here, you can see that I'm walking faster, I'm at a slow jog, and if I crank it all the way up, now I'm basically at a run. So now I'm running. Now, what you can do while you're running is hit left shift key. Typically people use that with their pinky, and you will sprint. And you can actually hold on to that indefinitely because we don't have like a stamina bar right now. And you can just sit there and sprint everywhere you go. Now if you're already at like a slower walk speed and you're just walking around, you can still sprint to go fast and then move back to a walk speed. So it's up to you how you want to control your character. Now another button for movement is the space bar. That is the jump key. So that's space. If you hold down shift and jump, it does nothing. It's just a regular jump. There are some other keys here that we typically use. The crouch key is left control, and that'll put us into a crouch. And on a crouch, we can go fast, we can go slow. Actually, we can't. We aren't going very slow. We get a very slow walk going on. So that is our crouch movement speed. Wasn't very fast, it wasn't very slow. It's kind of in between. Now, let me reset my view. There we go. If I hit control and then I hit control again, I stand back up. So crouch, stand up. I believe the X key, if you hit X, it'll take you into the prone position and you can crawl. I know this is weird, I'm crawling around everybody, but that's what that button does. So those are your basic interaction keys. WASD, jump is spacebar, left shift is your sprint, control is your crouch, X is your prone. Next one more time. To get up from your prone, you can hit space, it'll take you back to your crouch, and then space again will make you stand up. So those are our basic keys here. Let's go back into first person. We can see there's a bunch of NPCs here. They don't really do nothing. They just kind of stand here and look at things. There's so much detail here, and I'll let you actually explore that yourself. But, I mean, look, there's magazines and plates and beer bottles and things like that. And then as we look outside, we can see, right now we can see the spaceport, the Tiasa spaceport. Or is it, yeah, it's Tiasa spaceport. Tiasa, I usually say Tiasa. You can see Lorville here is a very industrial type of city. It's very polluted. The company that owns this planet, and yes, it is a civilian corporation that owns this planet, is called Hurston Dynamics, which is why it's called Planet Hurston. They develop weapons for the military. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of processes with developing those weapons that are very polluting. And since they own the planet, they can do pretty much whatever they want with it, so it's kind of turned into a toxic waste dump. The people that live and work here on a regular basis are, they usually enter some kind of a contract, like 40 plus years to work here, and it's not a very good living, and it's, I don't want to say it's slave labor because they're not slaves, but it's definitely not something you want to be doing. So you're a freelance type of person anyway, so let's go ahead and walk around here. Sometimes you will spawn at the bottom of the halves down in this area. As you can see, there's people moving around. There's a pool table. It doesn't really work yet. There's nothing you can do with it. Maybe one day. Sometimes you spawn at these different hab locations. Now, you cannot go back into a hab once you leave it. And you can't play these video games just yet, but hopefully soon. And also, none of the vending machines currently work. That'd be nice if they did, though. Now, I can hold F and look at this guy and click on him, but he's not going to do anything because he's not an interactable NPC. He will look at you. Sometimes they stare at you very weird. Even with your helmet off, you do get these weird combat assistance things, and it's super annoying, and I hope they go away one day. But for now, you'll see them. If you want to accept a mission that shows up in your HUD and your visor, you hit left bracket. If you want to decline it, you hit the right bracket on your keyboard. Bracket keys are next to the P key. So let's go past our magazine salesman here. It looks like he's selling some kind of a soda thing, but we can't buy any of this stuff. Let's go ahead and go back upstairs and make our way to the elevator. Let's go down to the lobby. So we're going to hold down F, highlight all elevator, and left click. You can see our location is the first floor. The elevator's at the ground floor. It's coming up. Just open up. We're going to walk inside. We're going to hit this panel. We don't need to go to any of the other floors. We're just going to go ground floor. You could go to another floor if you wanted to. Okay, so here we are at the ground floor. This guy over here doesn't actually do anything. Maybe one day he will. You'll be able to actually rent a room, but right now there's nothing you can do. These screens are non-interactive. Silence is complicity. Failure to report criminal activity is a crime. Report suspicious behavior. It's very World War II type stuff. As you exit the lobby of the Habs, you will see that there is this the Scales of Justice hologram and fines and citation system. So you can interact with this. This is how you would pay off fines, like a parking violation or something like that. If you actually do commit a real crime and get a crime stat, you can't use the system to pay it off. You'll either have to go to prison for a little while or hack your crime stat. So I'm going to hit F and click use on this, even though I don't believe I have any fines. And I'm going to go ahead and click login as user. I'm not hitting F. I'm already in the system. You can see I don't have any fines. So I'm going to go ahead and log out. But if I did have a fine, it would show up on there. And what I did there is I just backed out with the S key, and I zoomed out of the terminal. Okay, so let's make, how you see these giant fans forcing this polluted air into us. And now as we're leaving the lobby and heading towards the main part of Lorville, we can see the open air area of Lorville and look at all the industry that's out here. These giant pipes and the slugs that they're pumping out straight down into the lower parts of the city. Isn't that fantastic? That giant building in the background there, that is the Hurston Dynamics headquarters. It's one of the few buildings you can actually see from space. It's actually really cool, and you can visit there in this game. And in fact, you would have to visit there if you wanted to do any type of commodity trading. That's basically where the trading terminals are. So it's somewhere you're going to end up going on Lorville at some point in time. Now, as you can see, that's someone's ship. That's a real life person there in a Cutlass Black. And they're trying to figure out how to fly away from here. You can see they're taking off. And they just left from Tiasa Spaceport. And they're headed out to space right now. And, I mean, they're pretty much gone from our screen. Oh, you can barely see them taking off. So kind of like real life. You lose sight of airplanes and stuff, and it just becomes a speck. But the airport is over here. These are underground hangars. And we're actually going to be making our way to the airport to grab our one of our starter ships here. So let's head back, and we're going to head into the city proper. I did want to point out something. As you see what I'm wearing what you would typically be if you're a brand new subscriber. It's often called the noob suit. It is just an undersuit, and it does come with a helmet. But you'll see here in just a sec that I will equip my helmet. And there you go. This is typically what, when you see new people in the game, this is typically what you're going to see them wearing. Is a noob undersuit with an oxygen pin, a med pin, and a helmet, just like that. So, the only place we actually have to go is this way. And we can see this is Hurston Security here. Kind of hanging out, ready to shoot you. They're the only ones that can actually have their weapons out in this area. And if you have a crime stat, they will shoot you. So now we come to a T-junction. We can either go left or we can go right. Going to the right is the fastest way to get to the trains, all the way down there, and you make a right. It's the fastest way to get to the trains that to go do some trading or go to the big Hurston Dynamics building. There's a person right in front of us who apparently just got stuck. No, a little bit of desync. Is this a noob as well? Hey man, what's going on? So if you hold down the plus key on your number pad, you can talk to other people. He does look a little lost and confused. Are you new here? You don't have to leave. Well, he might have had his volume turned down and couldn't hear us. So, anyway, coming out after you made a left at that T-junction, you'll see it says L19 Residences. That's where we were. And as you come up here, you can see there's a lot of signage here that can be kind of confusing. This should say Metro Center, because that's where we want to go. The Metro is obviously the train. But we can also go down this way as well. You can see there's a sign up here. It's going to show us the bar, the hospital, and like maintenance or something like that. The only place that actually works right now is the bar. As we go down this way, you can see there's a lot of trash, and it's just ambiance is very New York 1980s. And this is where we just were when we would have made a right at that T intersection. That's where we were looking down that way. And this is what we saw. We saw the big security sign. So as you go down here, there is what's called an administration office over here. And we can actually go through this door. In the admin office, there's a guy that works the desk that we can't talk to. He just kind of looks at you. He's dressed very nicely. There is a Kovalex shipping pickup and drop off. I don't have any boxes to pick up or drop off, but if you do have something to pick up or drop off, this is where you would go if it was in the admin building of Hurston. Now you can see in the admin office there is find terminals and trading and shipping consoles. We don't have anything to trade or ship, although we could pick up something. You know, if we had something to actually... All they sell here is like waste and scrap. Now you could take the scrap and sell it somewhere else for maybe $2 and make a little bit of money. Waste makes you really no money. So we're going to leave the admin office. I've never bought or sold anything there. So as we look at this sign here, it says Leavden Station, Tammany & Sons. Tammany & Sons is the weapon and clothing shop. It's probably one of the places you're going to want to go. Up there, it says Metro Center, L19, and Admin Office. Metro Center, remember, is the train. As we come down here, we do not want to go down here. This is the production quad. I believe it leads to trains to go to other places. We just don't want to go down there. As we look up here, the hospital, Maria Pure of Heart, it's not open. That kind of gameplay's not in yet, so there's no point to go there. There's no point to go to Reclamation and Disposal. But if we did want to go to the bar is open. As we come up here, you can see there's the bar. And that's Reclamation and Disposal. Which is basically salvage. And there's the hospital, Maria Pure of Heart. Now, Hurston can be very disorientating if you don't really know where you are going. We're going to not go down that area. We're going to go down here towards the central line. By the way, you see that the text on the left side of the screen, that is because I put my helmet back on. That's the global chat. So if I hit enter, I can type something in there, and it would be there in the global chat. So I'll say, hello, everyone. Boom. And it shows up. If you want to turn that off, just hit F12 on your keyboard. And that'll turn it off. Now you can, on the left here, you can see the other side of the bar, the M&V bar. And we're getting pushed by this guy who wants to look at something. The NPCs will push you around. They don't mean to do it, but that's how they're programmed. There's another train for a production quad. We don't want to go down there. But where we don't want to go down the central line, that'll take us to that big Hurston Dynamics building. What we do want to go down is here, Tammany & Sons. Why are those guys going so fast? Okay. Now, Tammany & Sons, armor, weapons, things like that. We got a couple guys standing on chairs. That's a kind of a thing that happens in Star Citizen. And over here we have a place to get some food and a drink. Although none of the food is out here to be able to eat. Big minis. But what you can do is you can either grab a soda or you can grab a water. They do cost 3 UEC. The sodas also cost 3 UEC. But you do have to eat and drink. Hopefully we can get our food and our drink low enough to where we need to do that. Let's go ahead and pop into Tammany & Sons real quick. As we walk in, you can hear it has a little bit of a soundtrack. This guy will probably greet us. He's not super happy to be working here. Hey, what's up, dude? Yeah, he gets mad at you. But one thing here at Lorville, if you want to get food, it's right here at Tammany & Sons. You can buy the beef chunks, which is kind of like beef jerky chunks, or you can buy the granola bars. And you can also buy water in here. So if you're hungry or thirsty, this is the only place you can do that at Lorville. There's also all kinds of clothes out here if you want to buy some clothes. You can try stuff on. You can buy it. That sweater is 570 credits. That's a lot. The money in this game is called United Earth Credits, but because the game's an alpha, it's Alpha United Earth Credits. So AUEC. There's other stuff you can do. Get some mining gear, things like that.
Never mind.
Oh, okay. There's here is a hand mining tool with both the Oxy torch cutter attachment and the Orbit mining attachment. So if you wanted to do some hand mining, that would be the tool you'd have to use. Here are some hats and some mining helmets. But you could buy stuff off the shelf just by F and then trying it on or buying them. If I click buy, I'll pop this up. There you go. You can also come down here and look at some of the armors. This is a basic mining suit. This is a basic noob suit right here with the different helmets. There's purple suits, there's orange suits. And you can buy them over here, or 99.9% of everybody else does. We go to the terminals, hold down F, and go into the terminal. From the terminal here, you can see we can buy mining things like lasers, consumables, mining heads. We can buy different types of clothing. You can see it has a model showing stuff. We can even buy shoes. You can come over here and buy undersuits, different types of undersuits. You can buy weapons, like, so attachments is ammo, and like things like suppressors and flash hiders and scopes. Like, this is a stabilizer, because everybody can have a fully automatic weapon in Star Citizen. For weapons themselves, you can do all kinds of stuff. There's combat knives, there's grenades, flares, your multi-tool, and a frag pistol. Although, so Lorville does not have anything really for weapons. You're going to have to go to Port Olisar or one of the other stations if you want some actual weapons. But every station does have the same ammo, and they all sell ammo, right? So if you need ammo for your railgun, they have it at every place that sells it. So they do have some armor here since we lost one of our asteroids called Levski. Hurston has taken over selling most of that stuff. There's different kinds of armors here. There's torso, legs, helmet, and arms. So to get out of the screen, we're just going to back up using the S key, and we're going to take off from here. Actually, before we take off, I want to show you the Mobi glass. So you've seen me use it a couple times. The way you bring up your Mobi glass is F1. As I hit F1, it'll bring it up. It's on your wrist. Think of it as like your future cellular phone. It shows you your personal details. So here's my login name. It shows you how much money you have. I have 36 million UBC. It tells you about your vitals, although this stuff just really doesn't matter. I mean, even if your heart rate gets way up there, nothing's going to happen. There are some stuff here on the bottom about your tanks and how much EVA fuel and stuff you have, and that'll become important when you start doing those kind of things. Because if you do run out of air, you will die, especially in space, because this is a space game. Like if we hit journal and we hit this button, it takes us back to our home screen. So let's go over these buttons here on the bottom left. The very first one is your comm link. On the comm link, and I'm just left clicking these, you can see there's different channels. The first channel is global chat. This is everybody's chat here. You can see, CobraTV. Oh crap. Hi, Makasi and Fist. Hey Cobra. Doing a new video right now. How are you doing? We'll see if Cobra replies to that. Cobra's a good dude. If you haven't watched anything with CobraTV, please go to YouTube, check out CobraTV, maybe even join the Cobra Force. They're awesome people, and Cobra's an awesome dude. Okay, let's keep on going. So we also have a friends channel here. Friends are all your actual friends that you have in the game. I have quite a few, although, to be honest, maybe about 10 or 15 of them I actually game with on a regular basis. But, you know, when I have friends like this, like I haven't seen Archangel in a long time, but let's say he was on, I could right-click and invite him to a party. Invite him to a specific channel, remove him, or mute him. Things like that. Pending. So if you have any pending friend requests or things like that, it'll show up in the pending section. Back to channels. The active members, you can see there's 48 out of 53 active members in the server right now. CobraTV is showing up on top, which is interesting. You can see whoever is on your server will be over here in the right. Now, this does reset from time to time, and the scroll bar will go all the way back up to the top, so you might have to scroll for a little bit to get down there. As far as the manage key, connect the voice channel while you're in general chat, you can't really mess with that. You can turn off your visor chat right here. Although I end up, it doesn't really work for me most of the time. You can change the color, you can change your microphone and your sound volume. So that's the basic comm link. If we click on the second button, our vehicle loadout manager here, what this does is, if you already have a current ship, like I was just flying the Aurora around, it will show up. Even though it's already stored, it is the most current ship I was in. Notice it says read only, means I can't do anything to it. But if I were to go to like a different ship, like the one we're going to take out, which is a Consolidated Outlet Mustang Alpha, you can go ahead and pick on that ship. The read only goes away, and we have a kind of a hologram view, a viewer of a 3D model of our ship. And then we can click on these different buttons to change out our components. Now, that's a whole different video in itself of what components you should use and all this stuff. And I make videos on that stuff all the time. So please check out my Anvil series if you get a chance. But you can see I do not have, most of my ships are not stock. So I've put upgraded components in them. So you can see my propulsion has been changed. My systems here are actually changed. My shields and my coolers. I do have weapons on there that aren't stock. And then you can do paint jobs as well. So that is the Vehicle Loadout Manager. The Equipment Manager, which is the third button here. Which, please go to that. We're going to get... Let's go. Not my Mobi glass. Sometimes stuff like this happens. Weird stuff. We'll check out our comm link. And we will click on... the Equipment Manager. There we go. Now it's coming up. Okay. So this is your person. This is your avatar. You can see 3D model of yourself in here. I don't know why there's stuff in his glasses. That's crazy. But here you can change into different types of things. Like I could put on some sunglasses if I wanted to. This thing, what I'm wearing, says RSI on it. That is it's like a flight suit undersuit. And this undersuit, Odyssey 2 Undersuit Alpha, is the actual noob suit. Now, an undersuit, it's not armor or anything like that. It's just an undersuit to seal you against the vacuum of space. So you can change it. If you buy one different one and it has colors and stuff, I can change over to that guy. Or I can pick one of the other ones and change over to one of the other ones. I have a bunch. You see there's this little yellow triangle with an exclamation point in it. That means it's a change is pending. If I wanted to keep the changes I made, I'd have to hit Save Changes and Equip. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. We'll load ourselves up with a different loadout. I'm not going to mess too much with weapons right now, even though I do have some kind of a spare magazine to equip. But I am going to go ahead and put in some armor. We're going to start with our torso armor, which goes around our chest. You can see there's different manufacturers and stuff here. As you hover over stuff, it'll kind of show you a view of what it looks like. I'm looking for my Venture Rust Society here. You can see that 3D model on the right, finally rendered. We're going to click on it. Now it's on our main guy. I do have all the pieces for this type of armor. So I'm going to look for Venture Rust Society. And I know it's made by RSI, so I'm just looking for the RSI logo. Venture Rust Society. So there's my arms. And this is actual armor. We can actually see here, as if we go back to our torso, as we hover over the armor, it tells us it's light armor. Damage reduction is 20%. Our carrying capacity, which you can carry some stuff in your armor, is not very much. It's very low. SCU is a standard cargo unit. I think this thing holds 9,000 like micro cargo units or something like that. It's very little. And then the temperatures we can withstand without having to, like if it goes over 67 Celsius, we'll have a limited amount of time before we die. If it goes below negative 37 Celsius. So let's go ahead and find our leg armor. Oh, there's our Venture Rust Society leg armor. And our helmet. I do have a helmet for this as well. That's my Horizon Rust Society. And where are you, helmet? have way too many helmets. Okay, Venturist Society. So there we go. So there's my avatar, all decked out in his matching gear with a fairly good matching undersuit. I'm kind of OCD for that stuff. Under utility, you can see I can equip grenades in my utility slot, like I did right there. Or I can put some of my flares in there. Well, I'm not going to do any of that right now. Under consumables, you can have a med pen and oxygen pens. So you can see the pins are over there. You can also have either a hacking chip, a knife, or one of the multi-tools over here. So let's go ahead and put a standard multi-tool over there, the yellow one. And we'll make sure it has the tractor beam attachment on it. And then the last utility item is like some kind of a knife or something like that. So we'll go ahead and put a standard combat knife. We don't have a gun, but we have a combat knife. So I know we went from utility to weapons, but a knife is the utility slot under weapons. Then technology here is just for your Mobi glass casings. They don't actually do anything. You can't even see them in armor. They're just different colors. So they don't really do anything. I'm going to hit save changes. We're going to wait for all these yellow things to go away. And as soon as... Oh, there we go. You can see that little thing was basically us putting on a new helmet. If you did want to go into just regular clothing, which you could do on Hurston because it has an oxygen atmosphere, if you just unequip your undersuit, then you'll have all your clothing options show up, like hats, jackets, pants, shoes, stuff like that. But if you're wearing an undersuit, you cannot wear any of the normal type of clothing, but you can wear armor. Conversely, you cannot wear any armor if you don't have an undersuit on. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to turn off my chat here, and now am I hit F4? And you can see that we are styling in our Rust Society non-noob suit. And I think it looks pretty good. It's different. And you can even look at me talking. Okay. Let's get out of this place. What do you say? Okay. We're still in Lorville. Let's try to make our way out of Lorville. We're not going to go to the central line. We could cut through the bar real quick. Let's do that. It's really loud in here. The music is just incredibly loud. There's one of the other exits. This guy that I'm going to come up to, he looks like he's holding something. He's actually one of the NPCs that you can talk with.
Don't have anything at the moment. Check back with me later.
All right, buddy. When you have Eckhart missions, this is Miles Eckhart. So you can actually talk with him if you have one of his missions. He'll tell you to sit down and all that stuff. You can also order drinks from the bartender here, but right now it takes 8 minutes plus to get a drink because it's just really slow.
What can I get you?
And we're not going to wait that long. So we're going to make our way out of here. Looks like there's some kind of a gambling and slot machines. Some decent moves. And that's the way we came in. We're going to exit this way. I told you it was loud in there. Okay, Reclamation Disposal. I think there's actually a mission giver in there too. But he's always does illegal missions. So I typically don't do that kind of stuff. So we can see the sign for Metro Center. Which coming this way. You can see the hospital is currently closed. There's not even... It's like walkways and there's people up there, but they're just sheep because you can't actually go in there. It's closed. So let's make our way down here. We're going to make our way to the Metro Center. Okay. Oh, this stuff's starting to look familiar now. Remember I told you that sign was busted? Well, we're going to head towards it. Because it should say Metro Center. There's a map over here if you want to look at it. Like, we are here, and we're going to head to the actual Metro Center right here at 2 Tiasa Spaceport. So you can see there's only one way to go. It's to the right, the perimeter line and the spaceport line. We are not taking the perimeter line. We don't need to go to the perimeter of Lorville, which is to the right. It's the red line. We want to take the blue line to the spaceport. So let's keep on following that to Tiasa Spaceport.
Welcome to Metro Center.
Hey, thanks for the Metro Center. You can see the trains here. We just missed it. That's okay. We'll wait for the next train. It's going to arrive in about 20 seconds. So as you can see, this is almost like a subway. So again, very New York-like. Here's a poster of a ship called the Hammerhead. A ship which I actually own. It's super fun. I love that ship. Another map of the Hurston area. Oh, and our train did show up. So we're going to go ahead and enter our train. And so one of the unique things about Star Citizen is when I get on this train, this is not a loading screen. It's not a random animation or anything like that. We are physically on this train and we are physically moving on the train. I'm not sure any other game quite does it like that. There may be some of them, but we're an asset that's on this train, and we're physically moving around the city. Now, there's the Hurston Dynamics building, and we can see the spaceport directly in front of us. We're going to kind of curve around it. It's the only spaceport in the game that has those markers up there. Tiasa Spaceport markers. That's pretty cool. You can see the reflections coming in on the windows. There's so much going on in this game, and the detail is just crazy. They keep making it better. It is probably the most beautiful game I've ever seen. And now the train is gonna... Here we go. We're at Tiasa Spaceport. And we're gonna leave. We're gonna follow the exit sign, right? And granted, I am sprinting everywhere, everybody. So as we come up here, we can see here's the green line. So that commerce line will take you to the big Hurston Dynamics building, which we're not going to go to in this playthrough. We are going to just take a left here to the customs area. You do have to go through customs to leave, and you have to go through customs to enter Orbital. So here's scanner number 1. We pass that. You can't interact with any of this other stuff or any of these people. It's just for show right now. And here's the big scanner. Eventually, you won't be able to go through those with weapons, or these guys will probably shoot you. Okay, so we made it through customs. Now we're going to come up these stairs. Well, we actually see a plant here at Hurston. Interesting. As we come up the stairs, we see 2 guys with... Yeah, that's... Oh, don't you do the 3rd guy there. Don't do it. Okay. So the server can sometimes get a little glitchy, and stuff like that happens. Well, let's look. You know you're in the hangar area when you see these crazy little triangles up here. As we look, this is one of the screens that just blew me away. Oh, that's a real person. And you know I'm on an AMD system because those horns are glowing way too brightly. If you have an NVIDIA card, those horns don't glow like that. These terminals right here, vehicle retrieval consoles. We're not going to get on those just yet, but when we call our ship, that's what we're going to use. Come on, dude. That way. Okay. So every airport has a window, and this is one of the windows. Now we can actually, if we sit here, we can see, like there's a guy right there who's coming in to land. Well, it looks like he's a freelancer. And he's waiting for his hangar to open, which looks like it's the hangar down here on the bottom. And he's trying to figure out how to get in there. You're probably going to have to turn your ship, buddy. You're getting real close, though. You can do it. Now, sometimes these doors will close on you when you're trying to land if you're going a little too slow. So, yeah, you can do it. Get in there. It can be sometimes terrifying to land, especially if you're not used to this game. So this guy's just kind of hovering right above his hangar. Come on, dude. It's gonna get you if you don't get in there. Come on, buddy. That's amazing how far we can zoom in here. That's pretty cool. Come on, my friend. Oh, I think he might be trying to adjust his camera or something like that. Anyway, you can see all of Hurston here, and we're going to be coming out of one of these hangar spaces as well. There he goes. Made it in. Great job. Great job. I wish I knew who that was. And we can see that the hangar doors are going to close now that he actually made his way in there. And, I mean, that's kind of the thing in this game. That was a real person, right? So, as we walk around a little bit more, this area, I have no idea what it is. Oh, it's the Chairman's Club. I am a member of the Chairman's Club, but there's nothing for me to do, so can't go in there. This ship right here is an M50. It's one of the Origin ships. It's like a racing ship. It's super cool. Yes, I just jumped over that. It's really fun to fly. It's super fast. And you can actually buy it right here. It's 1.1 million Alpha UEC. I already have one, so I don't need to buy it. This is a Class 4. It's really cool. All right. Now, in the game, now that Levski is gone, there's only 2 places where you can buy ships, and one of them is the New Deal Shipyard here on Lorville. The other one is Astro Armada on Area 18. So if you did want to look at purchasing a new ship with in-game credits, you would come over here to the New Deal Shipyard. Now, notice that the New Deal is, they do have some sample ships over here. You have the M50 over there again, some other ships inside. But outside here, in a covered area, they have some ships you can check out. This is the Solid Outland Mustang Beta for only $404,000, which is actually a pretty darn good buy. Over here they have an Aegis Hammerhead, which is the Hammerhead poster I was showing you. It's a gigantic ship, and you can actually go inside these ships if you wanted to and check them out. Over here is an RSI Constellation Phoenix. And like I said, if you wanted to see what they look like inside, you can call the elevator, come down, you can check out the ship yourself. That's all that's down here on the showroom floor. As we go into the actual, I guess the showroom outside floor, as we go into the actual showroom, they have a couple other ships parked inside there that you can take a look at. The first one to our right is the 85X by Origin. I kind of think of it as a sports car because it looks like kind of like a convertible. They have the RSI Aurora LX, which is the luxury version, although I don't know necessarily what's luxury about it. It's the same as the MR. Then they have one of the cooler ships in the game, the Nisk Prospector, which goes for about 2 million Alpha UEC, and this is the solo single-seat mining vessel with its big mining laser up here. Now, there's a guy here who's not doing anything, so I'm going to hop into the terminal. Now, this terminal is where you can actually buy your ships at. So if you wanted the Hammerhead, it's 12.4 million. There's the Mustang Beta, the Connie Phoenix. So there's a bunch of ships over here if you were interested in purchasing them. I think I actually have all the ships on this list. I have a lot of ships, so. But if you're interested in purchasing one of these, here's where you would purchase them, and then you just hit purchase ship over here. So I'm done with that, and I'm done. This guy has the deepest voice in the verse, for a white guy anyway, and we're gonna make our way out. We're gonna go ahead and call our ship. Ooh, so Crusader, this used to be a picture of the Mercury Star Runner, which is what's up there right now. That is the MSR, one of my favorite ships in the game. But the picture they had on there, that's a Hercules, and that's what's coming out in patch 3.13. So, I can't wait to fly my Hercules. So let's go head on over to the ship terminal here. Now we're going to go ahead and scroll down, and we're going to pull out a starter ship. we're going to pull out our Consolidated Outland Mustang Alpha. We're just going to hit retrieve on there. Left mouse click on that. And it's going to retrieve our vehicle. It says it's in Hangar 8. And notice we have a marker on screen in blue. It's DO Mustang Alpha, Hangar 8, 758 meters away. I'm just going to back out of the console with the S button. This is a guy who's ready to go mining. And we're going to head to the hangars. Commercial flights, toilets, elevators, hangars. Unfortunately, the commercial flights don't quite work yet. So there's different elevators to the hangars. And if you needed to rent a ship, you could also come here to Vantage. If my screen will work. And you could rent a ship. Like, say I wanted to rent an M50. Well, it would cost me 35,000 credits to rent it for 1 day. I was going to rent it for 3 days. There you go, 89,000. You can do a 7-day rental, or you can do a full month rental for 500,000 credits. So, I know one thing a lot of people do, especially for like cargo running and stuff like that, is they will rent ships. You can also rent things like a prospector to go mining. The only bad thing about renting ships is you cannot change the components on them. No. Just like renting a car, you can't change out the components, but if you bought the car and you own it, hey, change it out. So let's go ahead and go to our ship. By the way, the Archimedes flight area here is not open for business. So you cannot just pick a flight to go somewhere. You actually have to fly your own ship. We're going to call our elevator. The elevator, you can see where it's at is Hangar 9. And if you forgot, we have to go to Hangar 8. That little marker there wasn't there for a long time, and I really am thankful it is here now. So, we're going to head on down to the hangar, and this is something that probably confuses most new players. And that is how to get out of the hangar when you're at a place like Microtech or Hurston or ArcCorp. All the starter areas. As you can see, this is our Mustang Alpha. Beautiful ship. That is the hangar door. You have to ask permission to leave. Just to let you know that, you do. So, you can see this little blue marker. That's the spawn point of the aircraft. That's the center of the hangar bay. So don't pay any attention to that. You see it says it's our Mustang Alpha. As we look around the ship, it says ladder here, 5 meters. So as we get closer, this means this is an entrance to the ship. As we hold down the F key, we have enter pilot seat, open the canopy, open the ladder. We're going to do everything by just entering the pilot seat. There we go. You just enter the pilot seat, let the animation finish. Our canopy is going to close. Voila. So as we get a third-person view of our Mustang Alpha, our wings are folded back because our landing gear is down. And there's apparently is a guy that's waiting for us to start up. So as we go back in the cockpit, we're going to hit R. And that turns us to flight ready.
Your journey begins now. All systems operational.
Okay, so R means turn on the ship and get everything ready to go. Turn on your weapons, turn on your shields, turn on your engines, and turn on your power. Get everything going. That's the R key. Now, if you just wanted to turn on power or mess with power, it's the U key or uniform. If you want to mess with your engines, turn them off and on, it's the I key or indigo. If you wanted to turn on and off your shields, it's the O key, the Oscar key. And Papa key, the P key, is your weapon systems. So, first thing we got to do to be able to leave is we got to ask permission. Now, we can do this one of two ways. We can either look at one of our screens. Notice we don't have a comm screen up here. But we can go to our target screen, and actually, let's go down to our heat screen down here. As we're holding F and we're moving down, we can zoom in on the screen, and it gives us a better view. So that's using your scroll wheel. We're going to hit menu. See, we have comms, heat, power, weapons, shields, self-status, and target status. We're going to hit comms. Now we can see all of our friends up there if we wanted to talk to them. And we have Lorville landing services. we're going to click this little Wi-Fi signal. And it's going to basically, we're going to let go of F. And it's going to tell Lorville, hey, I want to get out of here. Can you open the hangar doors? Now we're clear to launch. As we take a third-person look, you can see those hangar doors are starting to open. Let's go ahead and reset our view, F4 and asterisk. And I'm going to make sure my mouse is completely centered. This is very important first time. I'm going to hit the spacebar key. Do it in third person. Spacebar key puts my thrusters up. I'm not touching my mouse. Don't touch your mouse. As I spacebar up, I will just go straight up. And now I'm up. Now I can just keep doing this if I wanted to, but I don't want to. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the November or N key. We're going to watch our landing gear retract. Landing gear comes in and our wings go down. Now, flying a ship is just like moving around and with your guy. It's WASD. So W moves us forward. Now, if I move my mouse, I will change the attitude of my ship. That is mouse up. If I move my mouse down, my ship goes down. If I move my mouse to the left, it will yaw my ship to the left. It does not roll. It yaws. If I move my mouse to the right, it will yaw my ship to the right. That's important to know. Now, if you actually want to roll your ship like this, you need to use the Q and E keys. E rolls your ship to the right. Q rolls your ship to the left. And Control will take your ship down. Let me even myself out here. If you hold down on F4 and you zoom out, you get a better view here. So let me even out the ship. If remember I hit spacebar, I'll go up. If I hit Control, I'll go down. See the ship going down. And you see us physically going. I just let go of Control, and there we go. W is forward. A is strafe to the left. D is strafe to the right. S is reverse or backwards, which you can do in the ship. Now, you're going to get your most and your fastest thrust by going forward. Look how much faster I am going forward than going any other direction. That's because the ship has thrusters. You can see my retro thrusters on the front slowing me down because I let go of the W key. Now you can see those thrusters in the front there. They're holding me up right now. So if I actually hit spacebar and go up, you'll see I'll start moving up. If I hit Control to go down, you'll see those bottom ones, they start to disappear, and the top ones come on to actually force my ship down. So you have different thrusters that do different things on your ship. So we're not going to fly around Lorville too much because a lot of it is a landing area that you cannot fly through. But that right there is the Hurston Dynamics building, and it's a no-fly zone for right now. But you got to make sure you visit it. It's pretty cool. It has gold statues, and it's a lot of gold over there. Let's go back into our cockpit view. Now you notice my crosshair right now kind of moves all over the place. And if you look down here in my lock target auto, I'm in target mode. And this is all concerns my gimbals. Now I can move the crosshair around and my guns will actually follow where the crosshair is going. Let's see if I can do this in third person. See how I'm moving my guns around? Even though I'm moving the ship around? The guns will follow that. Now, if I wanted to have all my guns fire forward, all of them, hit the G key. What that does is it takes my gimbals and everything. I go from target, I go to lock mode. That means everything is locked forward. Now my reticle is locked forward, and when I move my mouse around, it's just an indicator of my flight. So you see my guns aren't moving right now. Everything's locked forward. The last option you hit G and you go into auto mode. It's hard to see right there, but I do have this dotted line up here. And this dotted line indicates that my gimbals are in auto targeting mode, which even though everything's locked right now, what'll happen is if I end up having a target in front of me, my guns will automatically try to track to that target if that target is within this dashed circle, which is my overall big reticle. That makes sense. So that's the basics on that part of the HUD. I know Jawa's gone over this before, but over here on the bottom left part of your HUD, you have your gear, your coupled, and your ESP. I'm not going to go over what ESP is. Landing gear, obviously, when you have your landing gear up, that light is out. When you hit N, you're going to lower your landing gear. That gear with that little flash. Your gear comes down. I'm going to hit it again. My gear's going to come back up.
Landing gear retracted.
Now, what coupled mode is when I go forward, and I'm going to engage my cruise control with the C button. Now, notice as I hit C, this little caret right here came up. That means cruise control is on. If I hit C again, it'll go off. My speed will go down. Put cruise control back on. It comes back on. The coupled button for coupled is Victor or V while you're flying. So you see I'm flying in a certain direction right now, right? I hit V and I turn off my coupling. Notice my speed goes down. But what I can do, I'm still traveling in the same direction. Notice I'm still moving away from Hurston, but I changed my ship angle. Hope that makes sense to everybody. You can use like your thrusters and stuff while you're doing this, and I can even change my vector to go forward. But then as I turn again when I'm decoupled, I'm still going in the same direction. It's just I'm turning my ship around while still containing that momentum. I'm going to hit V and recouple my engines. I'm going to put myself back into cruise control. And we're going to make our way out of Hurston. Now, coupled is useful if you're in kind of a dogfight. You want to hit V, turn around real quick, and then shoot your enemy, and keep going in the same direction away from them or something like that. That's where coupling can be valuable. It basically decouples your main engine, and when you're in space, you're not going to slow down like you would on a planet because there's no gravity in space, so there's hardly any friction, so you're going to keep going at the speed you're going at for a long time. So coupled is much more useful in space than it is in atmosphere. Now you see this little indicator here, it looks like a kind of an X. That is basically my vector, where the ship is headed. So if I make a big left turn, the ship is still going in the direction right like this. That's the way the ship is actually going. Now if I stop, you're going to see it's going to line up with my thrusters because I'm actually putting forward thrust out there. And this will tell you as I pull up, my ship is like kind of making a curve upwards because I'm still making an up vector. Now I'm going straight. I'm going basically 50 degrees straight up. If I was to go down right here, now I'm doing kind of a downward arc curve until I do this, and now I'm flying at 25 degrees. So if you don't know what this big thing is here, that's called your pitch ladder. So it only happens when you're in some kind of an atmosphere. 0 is where your ship is exactly straight and level. If I roll my ship, you'll see how I am relative to the ground by checking my pitch ladder. So this is really helpful at night when you can't see very well, and you need to know if you're level to the ground or not. Other things on the HUD. This guy. This is in meters, my altitude, 6,385, 86, almost 6,400 meters. You notice I'll have fuel down here. Fuel, how much my quantum fuel is. I have 100% quantum fuel, and my hydrogen fuel is at 91. What we're using to fly around Hurston here is hydrogen fuel. Okay, let's look at our throttle here. We already talked about the cruise control. Let's take that off. As I throttle up, you'll see that white line start to increase. That's with, well, as I'm hitting the W key. That means my throttle's going up. What this orange line, this little orange line, they're different colors on some other ships. What this represents is my SCM speed. It's basically a maneuvering speed where when you're at that speed, you have the maximum ability to maneuver your ship without having other issues happen, right? Like a ship can only maneuver as fast as it can maneuver. And it's been determined that the SCM speed of the ship is where you have the most speed and the most maneuverability at the same time. Obviously, if I lower the speed of my ship, I'll have a little bit more maneuverability because I'll have less speed going on and less energy to deal with. If I move above SCM, yes, I'll be going faster. You can hear my engines kick in. I'll be going faster, but I'll have overall less maneuverability, especially in atmosphere. You see how far my bows is out. I cannot yaw, really, at all. I would have to roll and then pitch if I wanted to make a kind of a turn in atmosphere. So that's kind of how the throttle works. You could take it all the way up, but in atmosphere, I'm not going to, even in this ship, I'm not going to be able to go my maximum speed. There's just too much friction, and I'm fighting the force of gravity. So I will end up hitting a wall with how much speed I can put on, even though I'm at full throttle. So it's looking right about 320, 321 is, oh man, it's going up a little bit, but I'm not going to go much faster than this. Whereas if I was in space, I would, I could easily get to 1,000 plus meters a second right now. So I'm going to lower back to SCM speed. This guy right here tells you your velocity in meters a second. This guy right here tells you how much thrust your engines have. So as I throttle up, you see I'm giving almost 100% thrust. If I throttle down, I'm still giving thrust to my retros. There's a difference there, right? So let's go back to SCM speed and you'll see the thrust come down. There you go. So this is the thrust that it's taking to keep me at right about 14 degrees or so and heading upwards. This guy right here, I'm not going to go over G-Safe, but decoy and noise, these are basically your decoy is like a flare and noise is like a chaff. And so these are countermeasures for missiles. That's about all there is to the HUD. Before we head out into space, in the Mustang Alpha, there's different buttons here. You have your engine power off. As you hold F and look around your stick, you can spool your quantum drive, put your engines on and off. To the left, you can open your canopy, your ladder, unlock your ship. When you unlock your ship, it means other people can get into your ship. So typically, that's a no-no. You don't want to unlock your ship. If you have someone at a party, and you guys aren't a party together and you want to game together, they can get in your ship as long as you're there in the party. Let's say you have to leave the party and you still want them to use your ship, you got to make sure that you, the owner of the ship, unlocks it. Looking around, we have 4 multi-purpose displays. We already did our comms. This display right here is weapons. This is a target display, and this is a ship status display. Let's go over here to weapons. We can click on our guns. And we can see our type of guns and how much ammo we have, things like that. We don't have any missiles on the ship, so that's why no missiles show up. You can also turn your guns on and off just by doing that. We also have a heat graph. We'll tell you your heat signature, your electromagnetic signature, and your infrared signature. If you're into stealth gameplay, this is where you can actually suppress your overall IR if you have kind of a stealth ship and do some stealth gameplay. But we don't have a stealth ship. We're loud and proud. You can also come in here and change around some of your components and the way they work. Although not all those systems are fully configured yet. For power, so this is like our power triangle, and I believe this affects some of your EM signatures and stuff. I haven't found it to do really anything, so I don't touch my power triangle. I just kind of leave it where it's at. If I can get it back to where it was at, something. Yeah, 33s. There we go. But again, it'll tell you your heat, your EM, and your IR. And then under was I on my? No, I was on the heat one. Don't click the stealth button because it doesn't work. So if you do need to overclock something, like say I wanted to overclock my lasers, I would click that overclock button, and when it highlights red, it means it's overclocked. So if I shoot my lasers, which I can right now, see how fast my laser shot at the bottom? I turn off my overclock. Here we go. Turn off the overclock. Okay, sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. There we go. Now it's off. Now look, they're going to shoot slower. See? So you can overclock everything at once. It'll allow you to. It will take more power, so just be aware of that. And just like before, you can zoom in here with your holding F and then controlling your mouse wheel. It'll also scroll up and down this display and zoom you in and out at the same time. Or you can use the slider at the right. Let's go to another option here. We have our self status, which is already up here. We have our shield status. There we go. This will tell us how our shields are laid out, 100% on all ends. You can actually increase and decrease those with your number pad. I hit 8. I'm going to add shields to the front and take power away from the sides and the back. I can do that to the left, I can do it to the right. If you want to reset your shields, you used to hit 5 on your number pad, and it will reset everything back to 100%. I like having the shield display versus the ship status display, because it tells me how much of my shields are damaged. We already went over the weapons display, and this is the target status, so if you have a target, it'll show up there. So, now we are technically in space. We are 22,000 meters above the planet. You can see that this is... See, you can see that Hurston Dynamics building. Now we're going to go over Quantum real quick. This is Ariel. This is one of the moons of Hurston. So, Quantum is basically warp speed. It's how you get from one place to another as fast as possible. You don't actually move faster than the speed of light. You move at a fraction of the speed of light, but it's very fast. So to spool, we have to spool our quantum drive before we can quantum. To spool your quantum drive, you hit the B key. That's going to start spooling our quantum drive. Now, we can do what's called a blind quantum jump just by lining up to one of these quantum indicators and letting everything spool up. Now, once we get to 100, I can hold down B and we will quantum to that location. I can also move off of it and go to a different target, like Ariel. Where I want to go is up here. You see this little, it looks like a square. That's a space station. It's called Everest Harbor. Any place that you can actually like sleep on is that's in a space station is gonna be a square shape. Any place that's a moon or a planet is gonna have a circle. Any place that's just like an orbital marker is going to be a diamond. Any place that's a major city on a planet is going to look like home base in a baseball diamond, like a home base. So now that we're spooled up, we're aligned to Everest Harbor. It's 226 kilometers. We're going to hold down the B key and we're going to quantum there. Now I just held it down till we started and then I let go. So now we're in space. You see our pitch ladder went away because we're freely in space. We can start making our way to Everest Harbor. But let's go ahead and take a look at planet Hurston from this view. So look how far we got from Lorville, where we started at. This is how far away we are, and it didn't take very long to get there. So you can see quantum speed is very fast. And the Hurston Dynamics building, one of the few buildings you can actually see space. So if we hit B again, let me pull off a Lorville here. So like I told you, Lorville and any of the places, the main cities, are just going to look like a home base with baseball. And that's why Lorville looks like it. The guys that these little hexagons that have borders that are dashed means they're on the other side of the planet. We hover towards one. Hurston Dynamics Security Force or Security Place Tompkins. To go there, I would get a crime stat, and we can see that it's 1,800 kilometers away, which is pretty darn far. The hexagons that don't have a dashed border means they're closer to you on the side of the planet you're on. So we can see HDSF Ishmael is 884 kilometers. We can see that Edmund, the closest one to Lorville, is 286 kilometers. So basically, this is how I judge to see if something's going to be night or day. If I'm on the day side of the planet, then I'm going to try to do the ones that are closer to me. If I'm on the night side of a planet, I try to go to the ones with dashed lines. Because Pinewood, it may be at this location as I'm looking at it, but it's actually on the other side of the planet. These red ones mean that I can't go there because something is blocking it. I'm obstructed. And that's because the planet Hurston is obstructing me. So if I wanted to go to Aberdeen here, which is a moon of Hurston, I would first have to go to this, one of the orbital markers, which is this big diamond here. I'd have to go like OM4. Once I quantum there, then I can line back up to Aberdeen. So that stuff does work. Let's go ahead and jump over to OM4. And then we'll go over the map of the Mobi Glass. Alright, let's go over the Mobi Glass a little bit more. We went over our comlink, we went over the like loading out our ships there, we went over our equipment manager. Now let's get to, before we hit the skyline, which is the map, let's hit the Mobi Trader app. The MO Trader is how you would send money to other people. So you cannot do it from the seated position, it just doesn't work. But if you're standing, you could use it and it would work. So it's weird how that's set up. The clipboard looking thing is your contracts manager. Under general here, you can see there's different types of missions you can do. Bounty hunter missions, ECN alerts, maintenance, things like that. There's personal missions. This is with Constantine Hurston at the big Hurston Dynamics building. It's basically this is an FPS mission where I would have to go like retrieve a safe or something like that. And I have 9 minutes to take it. I'm not going to take it. If you have accepted the mission before, or currently accepted a mission, it'll be in this tab. Any missions that you have completed successfully during your play session will be in the history tab. And then if there's any current beacons out there, it'll be here. This is also where you could create a beacon. I don't want to go over beacons. That's not really noob gameplay. The LiveWorks AR button does absolutely nothing, and I have no idea what it does, and neither does anybody else. But it's there on the Mobi Glass taking up space. The vehicle maintenance services, you only would use this when you land your ship and you needed to prepare, restock, refuel hydrogen, or refuel quantum. Can't use it in space. I'm not anywhere near a place that I can do any of those things. Then the last tab is your journal tab, where, like, if you get a crime stat, you get this little thing pop up. When you first get to Hurston, it says, hey, you're in Hurston Dynamics, and there's little notes and things like that. Things that are illegal in the system and the fines. So you can see that what's considered a felony in Hurston, what's considered a misdemeanor, and how much they cost. And then some of the prohibited goods, if you get scanned, that kind of stuff will lead to a crime stat. Different felonies, and it's different throughout the different systems and things like that. Microtech has its own things that are illegal. Most of the time, it's all the same. RS5. Prohibited goods is RS1 RS1 Odyssey Space Hits. Interesting. And then when you get your licenses to be bounty hunters and stuff, it's in there too. Now let's talk about the map. Skyline. Or if I'm out of here and I just hit F2 on my keyboard, it'll also bring up the map. Notice the planet Hurston went away. This is a bug with the map. Sometimes you have to bring it up and bring it down multiple times or it won't show up. Again, it's not showing up. Move my ship a little bit. Now it showed up again. It's really weird how that works. DIG has to fix it. So you can see we're in the Hurston planetary system here. What I'm doing to rotate this map in 3D is I'm clicking the left mouse button and holding it down and rotating around. That will rotate me around in 3D. If I want to move the map in 2D, I'm using the right mouse button and holding it down, and I'm moving the map around. If I want to zoom in, I just mouse wheel up. If I want to zoom out, I mouse wheel down. If I want to center myself on a planet or moon, I just double click that place. That's what you do for aerial. If I want to do it on Hurston, double click Hurston. I get to, because it's a main planet, I get to see the entire planetary body. If I wanted to zoom out and get the entire solar system, I would double right click in the center. Now you can see Hurston, you can see Crusader, you can see ArcCorp over here, Microtech up here, and all the different Lagrange points that are out there. And of course, our star, which is the Stanton system. It's the only system in the game right now. So I could just sit here and zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. And sometimes that helps because you have HurL1 and HurL2 over here. But I really, if I want to see Hurston, I double click on Hurston. And now I'm in that system. If I wanted to go to a specific place on Hurston, I would just keep zooming in. And now you see all these different places on Hurston. Let's say I wanted to go to Tompkins. I would click on this little, no, I'm waiting for that line to show up. Because this little spot in space is where I am at. Want to go to Tompkins, I would click on that. It shows up here in the top right, HDSF Tompkins. It's 2,258 kilometers away. If I wanted to set a route there, I would click the green set route. And I can do a direct shot to HDSF Tompkins. My quantum fuel is 583.32, and it would take 0.03 of quantum fuel to get there. I don't want to go there. So I'm going to clear my route. Now, you notice I still have Tompkins selected, and it's the only thing that's showing up now. That will change if I just click on Hurston. One left click. Now all the other icons show up. Now I want to go to Everest Harbor. Oh, you can hear a ship out there. So see, as I rotate around a little bit, you can see the big bright dot. That is Lorville. Big bright dot is Lorville. You can barely see it in gray. That's if you wanted to go to Lorville. I don't. So I click on Hurston again, rotate it out, and I can see Everest Harbor right here in space. So I can click on that, click set route, and it's too close to quantum tube. But I can at least see it on my map. So I'll tell you what, let's go, notice I don't have any orbital markers in this view. That's because I don't have any orbital markers. You can't do orbital markers in the map. You can. But if you're near a planet, you can actually hit your B key. See, there's Everest Harbor right there. But you could hit your B key. And the reason only Everest Harbor shows up is because I have my course set right now to Everest Harbor. I'm going to clear route, and I'm going to go back in, and now all my targets show back up. I'm going to go to orbital marker if I can. A different one. We're going to go to OM2. Then we're going to set a route to Everest Harbor. Okay, so now we're at OM2. We're basically on a different side of Hurston. This is the dark side. You can see the light side over there. Now, I could try to do another blind quantum jump, but notice Everest Harbor is obstructed. So that means I have to go to a different orbital marker to get there. So I'm going to bring up my map by hitting F2. Oh, look, the map doesn't work. Okay, F2 again, and I zoomed all the way out. I'm going to double click on Hurston, and I'm going to zoom in. Now, as I left mouse click and hold and drag the planet around, I can see Everest Harbor is kind of highlighted. I click on it, it's up here in the top right. It's set route. I have to go to OM4, and then I can go to Everest Harbor. I'm going to hit F1 to drop my Mobi glass. You see that orange marker? You see it right there? See it right up there? We're going to follow that. And that's going to be OM4. That's the only place I can quantum to right now because I have my map set on. So we're going to spool up to that, and we're going to quantum to it. Okay, so now we have quantum to it. Now I have another orange triangle telling me where Everest Harbor is. And it's right down there. So I just follow that. I spool up my quantum. Notice I have a spool bar on the top and on the left. The top one is your quantum drive actually spooling up. The left side is the calibration of the target you're going to. If I lost my calibration, the quantum drive is still spooled up. So if I go back to Everest, the only thing that'll start to spool is the calibration on the left side. Spooled, I'm going to hold B and quantum, I let go of B. And so now we have Everest Harbor right there in the sun. And you saw I rolled. Can't see hardly anything with the sun in my eyes, right? So I rolled, got the sun mostly out of my eyes. Now we're going to hit cruise control and we're going to roll into Everest Harbor. Now, if you want to land at a space station, I hate that. If you want to land at a space station or a planet or something like that, you do have to ask for permission for a landing area. If you go to a spot on like a moon or something like that, and there's just open pads there, you do not have to ask for permission. You just land there. So don't bother. Even though it'll say that there's like a planetary service thing, you don't have to do that. You can just land there. I'm going to up our speed a little bit here. Mustang Alpha is a fighter. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys this. As you're flying, I'm gonna bring my throttle up, and it's at 100%. Right? If I hit left shift, I go into afterburner, and I got there real quick. Something you can do. See, now it said contact ATC to land, and that's what I'd have to do. To slow down my brakes is the X button. That is your space brake. It's your retro thrusters. Now I'm at 0. If you're moving forward and you have to do it real fast, I can hit X and left shift and afterburn space brake. You can use your afterburner, which is your left shift button. It's a bad guy right there, by the way. That's a crime stat. General Naird, USSF. But because I'm in the armistice zone, which is this little bullet with a line through it, he should not be able to shoot me and kill me. He actually should be being shot at by the police right now. Also, this little satellite means we're in monitored space. That means we're being watched. So if we commit a crime, we are being watched. Notice that with him targeted, my gimbal is moving around, and so my guns are moving around, but he is really far away. So we're going to detarget him. So if I'm strafing to the left, that's fine. If I really wanted to strafe left really fast, I would hold down afterburner and I get even faster strafe. Now I'm going to the right and I hit afterburner, and you notice how fast my velocity slows down and goes back to the right. The more afterburner you use, the more your coolers have to work to cool your ship down. Eventually, your coolers will get too hot and they will shut down. And as soon as you'll hear the warning, it'll be like, engine's too hot. You don't stop using your afterburner right there, your engines will shut down for a few seconds, and then they'll be brought back online. And it takes a minute or two for your coolers to go back down to normal. So let's go ahead and call for a landing, and we're not going to use the comms down here. We're going to use our actual comm and our Mobi glass, because you can do that as well. We're going to hit F11. We're going to go to Friends, and we see Everest Harbor's at the top here. We're going to click this little button over here. It's going to talk to them.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Sign to landing bay, and you're going to hit F1 to drop your Mobi glass. Now you see this little orange icon? It might be blue for your ship. That's where we're going to land. So we're really close to it, so I'm going to go ahead and drop my landing gear with N. And we're going to fly to it. We're going to fly to it in third person. And I know this is it, even though I can't see the markers, but you see that orange box right there? The orange box is your landing zone. So I'm going to get real close to it, and I could just hit control and drop down and land. But I'm going to do something a little different, and I'm going to hold down the N key, not once, but just hold it down, and I'm going to auto land, and the station's going to land for me. So I hold down N, and then when you're in first person, it actually says auto landing. So
Landing complete.
now
Have a pleasant stay.
our landing is complete. We could get out of it. We'll get out of the ship here in a sec. But before we do that, we need to refill our fuel. So we're going to hit the F1 key. We're going to go to this little wrench here. We're going to click it. You see we have repair, which is a little bit of damage to our thrusters and stuff like that. Just wear and tear. I didn't take any actual ship damage. And we're going to restock the bullets that we use when we're test firing our guns. Well, I don't have to restock lasers, but I do have to restock the bullets, because this ship does have some ballistics. We're going to refuel our hydrogen and quantum. Yes, this is an error. They're not supposed. They're always going to be the same right now. They're not supposed to be. I just do them both at the same time. But I think there's a way you can do. You can just refill. You have to refill your hydrogen first, and then once everything's filled up, then you can refill your quantum by itself. I just do them both at the same time. Confirm. And now we can see on the bottom right of the HUD, see our quantum just filled all the way up. And now our hydrogen's going to fill up. That's filled up. And if we go down to our weapons, we didn't see it because it was so fast. But our guns are back to full ammo of 7,200 rounds. That's it. And our ship, if our ship has like major repairs, it'll be up here in this area of the ship. You'll see it start to flash. And like say you're missing a wing or something like that, it'll start to flash. When it's done, it'll stop flashing and you're fixed. Or you can watch your ship in third person. And let's say I was missing a piece or something. After it's done being fixed, it'll be back on. So that's one way to do that. Now we're gonna hit spacebar, and we're in space. I'm gonna retract my landing gear. We're gonna do a little EV8 real quick. These are like cargo facilities over here. Now that we're off the landing pad, he knows we're off. I'm gonna go ahead and exit my ship in space. Now, I do have a helmet on, and I do have a spacesuit on, so I will be okay. I'm going to hold down F. And I'm going to find out, I'm going to look around to where I can exit. Oh, right there. Exit 0G. And I'm going to left click. So that's going to open my canopy. And I'm going to hop out of my ship. Canopy's going to close. So now we're EVAing in space. And there's our ship right there. This is a very fun thing to do. And new players do it all the time. So we can take a look around our ship, and we can do different, there's a different entrance or something like that. We could go in there and do things like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and re-enter the ship. Well, I can either open the canopy or enter pilot seat 0G, which it'll just do an automatic navigation and let us come into our ship. The reason it said contact is because there is a bad guy out here. Now, this is probably a guy who just has a crime stat, but it's that same guy again. Now, notice my reticle, it lost its auto gimbal, so I'm going to put that back on my G twice. So that guy is an Aegis Hammerhead, and it has a crime stat. If we want to see what's going on with it, if we wanted to scan it, we would hit the tab key. Tab key brings up your scanner. This is also how you would scan for like mining things. But if I hold down my left mouse button, I will start to scan it. Aegis Hammerhead, it's actually taken some damage. There's no one in the pilot seat and the owner is unknown. So someone probably just left it. Now let's go ahead and grab this guy. I'm going to hit E to target this guy. Target him. Okay, Forsaking Cheese. You're famous, bro. You're on YouTube. He's targeted now. He got a little thing on his screen saying beep, beep, beep. You've been radar locked. I'm going to hit tab and I'm going to scan him holding down my left mouse button. He's an Aegis Gladius. He's taken a little damage because his health is lower. Pilot is Forsaking Cheese. His owner is Forsaking Cheese. There's a life sign on there for Forsaking Cheese. If you have multiple life signs aboard, those will also show up. Now, if I was going to try to ping something and see if there's like metal out there, I would hold down the right mouse button and I would actually do a ping. And I would see that the space station is a huge chunk of metal, which I already knew. So I don't need to scan the space station. To get out of scanning mode, again, you would hit. So this is actually Everest Harbor, and we're going to go ahead and land here and end this video as far as the basics video goes. I think I've already really... Oh, the Gladius took some damage. I've already covered a lot of the dogfighting stuff in Dogfighting 101, but I might go over a basics dogfighting and a basics how to do a box mission type stuff as well. So let's go ahead and bring up F11. Let's choose our friends. Let's do Evers Harbor here. We'll hit F1. We don't need to necessarily wait for it. We see our landing areas over here with the circle and the chevron. We're going to drop our landing gear. We're just going to come around ever so slightly. I'm going to lower my throttle down to just half of Scm speed. And I'm going to strafe around. Now notice the space I can yaw really easily, right? There's no restriction, there's no friction. I'm just going to roll my ship till I get in a good spot. Just kind of ease it in there, just tapping W. You don't have to hold it. Just ease myself down, get up to about 0. Just controlled bursts of control. And now I'm landed, and I didn't do any damage to my ship, and I'm pretty much centered on the pad. Now I can hit F1 and go ahead and do, because we did use a tad bit of fuel. We'll fill up our fuel real quick. We'll hop out of the ship. And then I'll show you how to go store your ship, and then we'll end the video. Okay, everything's full. So let's, we don't need to hold F and do all that stuff to get out of the ship, even though we could hold F and look to our left. We can just hold down the Y button, and then we'll exit the ship. Hold down the Y button to exit your seat. Now that's true for any ship. If you want to exit the seat you're in, whether it's a single seat ship like this, or whether it's a bigger ship where you're just exiting the seat and you're still inside the ship, holding down the Y button will exit the ship. That used to be the ejection, but it's not anymore. Now you just hold down Y. So we're in space. If I take off my helmet, I'm gonna suffocate and die. So we're not gonna do that. But we're gonna head towards this elevator. Notice it says Pad 4. Notice when I look at my aircraft, it says Pad 4. So it's really nice to know where my ship is, just in case. Go back up. I call the elevator. I go down to the lobby. And again, Pad 4. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know it's probably a little bit long, but there is a little bit of a learning curve to Star Citizen. I don't think it's that bad once you're in the game and you're playing the game, but the very basics of how to interact and how to fly your ship around. The biggest problem I had when I started, as far as flying ships goes, is moving my mouse too much. Now, I actually upgraded my mouse. I was using a real crappy mouse, and now I have like a Logitech 502 Hero or something like that, but it gives me really good control. But you got to be gentle. Your ship will react as you move that mouse around. I do have dual joysticks, but I only use those to dogfight. Everything else, it's mouse and keyboard to fly around in. So let's look. We got 2 players here hanging out by the ASOP terminals. We'll just go to the back side and we'll use one. We'll hold down F. We'll hit the vehicle retrieval console. And we'll scroll down to Consolidated Outland, Mustang Alpha. We can see it's on Pad 4. We're going to hit store. Let's go ahead and store our ship into ship storage. And now it's here at Evers Harbor. And I can retrieve it again if I want. Now, if I go to another station, if I go back down to Hurston in a different ship, my ship is still here at Evers Harbor. The only way to get it back is either to come to Evers Harbor and get it back, or I can claim it at a different station. So, to give you an idea of how to do that, let's see if I have a ship in a different place. So we can see I have my prospector here at Hurston L2, Faithful Dream Station. If I wanted to be able to use it here at Evers Harbor, I would click the claim button, and basically it would rebuild my ship, and I'd be able to use it, but it takes 18 minutes for it to get delivered to me. Let's go ahead and file a claim. I'm not too worried about it. It takes a second for the claim to actually get filed. Now it's filed. Now, if I wanted to expedite it, it would take, so I could get the ship in 2 minutes and 52 seconds. It cost me this amount of money, and it goes down. And I hate how the ASOP terminals kick you out so fast. Where's my prospect? There it is. So if I wanted to expedite, I could do that, and it's just going to cost me a little bit of money, so I'm going to pay the expedited fee, and now it's going to be delivered in about 2.5 minutes. So that's it for this review, guys. It looks like now I'm thirsty. That's what this indicator is down here with the drop. Water drops. It means I need to drink something. The other one, when you see it, it's the hungry icon. So we're going to go ahead, enter thought wheel, helmet unequipped. We're going to come over here to the burrito bar station. We're going to grab one of these citrus beef burritos. Oops, didn't want to do that. We're going to do a quick buy. Come on. Sometimes it gets finicky. There you go, quick buy. Citrus beef, nothing quite as Mexican like citrus beef. So now I ate, and now I'm going to come over here, and they're running out of drinks, but I'm going to grab one of these Pips energy drinks. I'm going to see it in front of my face. I'm going to hold down the left mouse button, and I'm going to drink it until that meter down there at the bottom of the screen goes away. And that's that. So it's still in my hands. I'm going to go ahead and just drop it. And I'm going to re-equip my helmet. So we go up here to watch people land and stuff. And now you'll notice that there's nothing down here because I'm fully fed and I drank. And I can see all the chat coming up. So I'm going to turn that off. And so that's it for this video, guys. I hope you learned something. I definitely enjoyed doing it. And I hope to do some more of them in the future. And if you're new to Star Citizen, welcome to the verse, guys. It's such a fantastic game, and it's really been a pleasure in the last year to follow the development and to be able to give feedback and to just appreciate this world that RSI and Cloud Imperium Games have given us. And I cannot wait for future changes to come out. And welcome to Star Citizen. Good night, Stan.